Flawless victory.
Well, mostly flawless. So Mortal Kombat tells the story of Earth's fighters coming together for the first time to repel the attacks of the Outer World fighters in preparation for Mortal Kombat. Well, it's here, people. It drops today. Mortal Kombat 2021 is out in theaters as well as HBO Max. So if you got an HBO Max subscription, you can actually watch it right now. So I've been doing a small little impromptu review series getting ready for this one. I reviewed the 90s movies just a couple of days ago. You guys can check that out. I'll probably put cards up here somewhere throughout the video. But I have really been looking forward to this movie. For a long time, I had no interest in it because I just wasn't seeing any pictures. I wasn't seeing any trailers. I didn't know any of the cast. I didn't know the director, who turned out to be a first-time director. Not the best sign. Then that first trailer dropped, and holy shit, did my anticipation meters just skyrocket. And had I seen that trailer last year, this movie probably would have been in my top 5 most anticipated of 2021. So I have been hyped. So does Mortal Kombat 2021 fix the wrongs of the past, get this franchise back on track for movie adaptations, and do we finally get a good video game movie? Let's talk about it. So starting right off with the positives for Mortal Kombat are the things that this movie absolutely had to deliver on above anything else, and that is the fights. The fight choreography, the intensity, the brutality, it is all fucking awesome in this movie. I loved the fight scenes in the original Mortal Kombat for as dated as they are, but if you wanted that more brutal, that more visceral fights that these games are known for, along with a shitload of carnage candy, baby, this movie delivers on all of that. There's a ton of fights, just like with the games, just like with the original movie. There's a lot of different fights, a lot of different pairings of 2 different characters. There's training sequences. There's a whole segment where they're trying to figure out like their inner chi and figure out what their powers technically are, like Liu Kang's fire and all of that. That's really cool, where they're trying to prepare for the battle, prepare for Mortal Kombat. And then when you finally do get Mortal Kombat fights, they deliver. They are satisfying. The whole movie building up to that, and that delivers. Now let's talk about those fatalities, because you guys know I love me some gore. I love me some carnage candy. And even though I didn't say it as a negative in the original film, because the original film I felt like worked fine without them, that was the big glaring hole in the heart of Mortal Kombat fans for a long time, is that we did not see those gory, visceral fatalities brought to the screen. Well, can't say that anymore, because holy shit, they bring a lot of them. There is a lot of classic fatalities in this movie. There's a lot of classic fight moves in here that if you are a fan of the video game series, there is at least a half a dozen moments where you're going to jump out of your seat and say, fuck yeah, baby. And I really enjoyed this new incarnation of these characters for the most part. There's a couple, like, you know, I'll talk about it in the next segment, that I feel like were much stronger in the previous movies and haven't quite gotten there yet as far as modern adaptations. But other characters like Jax, the new Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Scorpion and Sub-Zero especially, they're all great. They're adapted great, they are performed great by the actors, the visualizations of them on screen, from their costumes to their attitude to the voice and the signature Mortal Kombat lines that come out of them, it's awesome. So again, if you're a fan of the video games and you have certain characters in this franchise that are near and dear to your heart, most of them you're gonna really enjoy how they're brought to 2021 with Mortal Kombat. I also thought the movie was paced really well, just like with the original movie. It's a game about fighting, so you have to adapt that into a movie. And if you have that as your goal, they do pretty well here with keeping fights regularly throughout the runtime, to where you never really feel bored, you never really feel like there's exposition dumps, you never really feel like there was this exciting part of the movie and then there's this middle act that just meanders and now we're back to excitement. No, they pretty much keep that level of ramped up intensity throughout most of the movie. So if you're here for the fights, again, you will be happy. Special effects are all damn good. That is something that I don't want to hear anybody tell me is not an improvement over the other films, because whew, very low bar. But there is some significant special effects here, like with Goro, that I thought was actually pretty damn good. Some of the visualizations of everybody's powers I thought was really good. Even like the way that Outer World looks, or the way that Raiden's temple looks and his lightning powers, I thought that all the special effects were pretty damn good in this. They did what they were supposed to do. They didn't go balls out. They didn't overreach. They wasn't underutilized. It was like that perfect amount of keeping practical with special effects. And finally, one more wrong that was righted with this movie. Sub-Zero and Scorpion are fucking awesome. I mean, I know I said it in the characters that they're utilized well, but that was something that I felt was just a giant misstep in the first two movies, to where you take the signature characters of this franchise and they're just kind of henchmen. They are pretty much the heart and soul of this movie. Sub-Zero is very much like the main villain, and Scorpion is this very tragic figure. The movie opens up, a lot of you saw the first 7 minutes, it opens up with establishing the rivalry between these two characters, and Scorpion's lineage is a big theme throughout the movie that's kind of the heartbeat that keeps the plot going, the little bit of plot that we do get. We'll get into it. But Sub-Zero, Scorpion fans, you guys are going to be excited as fuck with what they have in store for you with these two characters, because holy shit. And you know what? One more positive. I will give one more for a showcase of a character. I thought Kano was awesome in this. Kano was a character I never really cared about. He's utilized okay in the first movie. He's never really been a fighter in the games that I've really used or even really enjoyed all that much. I loved him in this. I loved his humor. I loved his lines. I honestly think that most of the standout character moments in this movie are Kano. And for everybody that was really pissed that they did not have Johnny Cage in this movie, when you see how much screen time and how much life of the party Kano is in this movie, you'll understand that, because there would not have been room for two of those big, bombastic, cocky characters in this movie. So, Kano, you're fucking awesome.
You fucking beauty.
Now moving on to the mixed, and I really only have one thing to say here, and that is this is a movie for the fans. Now that is something that can be an Achilles heel to a movie sometimes, but it can also be the saving grace at the same time. So we'll see where the chips fall after a lot of people have seen this film, but if you're not a fan of Mortal Kombat, of the video games, of the past movies, of the lore, of everything Mortal Kombat, there's not a whole lot in this movie aside from some cool fight scenes that you're probably going to get a whole lot out of. I'm already seeing some early reviews and people posting the Rotten Tomatoes score and everything, and a lot of seasoned critics, a lot of those prestige film fans, this isn't going to be anything that's going to win them over. This is just going to be another video game movie that they can easily discard and say it's not worth your time. But if you're a fan, I think there's a lot here that people are going to really enjoy and they're going to want more of. So we'll see where that falls. Now moving on to the negatives. Oddly enough, the biggest one that stood out to me is that they really should have utilized that classic Mortal Kombat song much more in this movie. You only get hints of it in certain scenes, and then whenever it goes to the end credits. And to me, that song is just too kick-ass. It's too iconic. It's too ingrained into the Mortal Kombat DNA to not have utilized it. There was at least two big moments in this movie where I was like, oh, this is the moment, this is when it's gonna start, and it wasn't. It was more so just kind of a more generic, epic style score that never really stood out to me, and that bothered me. That bothered me from a nostalgic sense where I'm like, come on, man, if you're gonna give something like this that is clearly geared towards the fans, you know all of us are wanting that. There's moments where you know it was perfect to put there. Why didn't you do it? Moving on from that, you could not accuse this movie of having a very big plot or a very intricate plot or a very creative story. Let's just get that out of the way now. It's the same exact plot as the video games, the same exact plot as the original movie, and that plot is thin. This has never been a franchise that has been heavy on story and lore and big deep characters or anything like that. No, it's just about fighting. It's about visceral fatalities. It's about a bunch of visual satisfaction, and they nail that side of it. Is there opportunity where they could probably put some more lore, put a little bit more story into this? Possibly. They didn't quite get that here, but I think that if you get a sequel to this, if they do the 3 or 4 movies that they've got some of these actors signed up for, there's going to be room to expand that and to get a little bit more into that. But for those that aren't fans of this franchise, yeah, there's not a whole lot of plot here that's going to keep you interested, just a bunch of fighting. I also didn't think that the new guy on the block, Cole Young, was all that great. His character's interesting enough. I like some of the character growth that he has. I like some pieces of his arc as far as where things end by the 3rd act of the movie, but a lot of it I think just relies on the actor Louis Tan. I've never seen him in anything else that I can think of, but a lot of his line delivery is kind of rough. There's scenes where he has to kind of rally the troops and give that Remember the Titans speech to get everybody like, all right guys, we got to do this, and it's like, dude, nobody's following you into battle because you just have no gravitas. I also didn't think that Shang Tsung was all that great. Now, again, a lot of nostalgia is going to be battling me with that one because I love the original actor for Shang Tsung. Johnny Tsunami, man, that guy is that character. When you recast an iconic character like that who's supposed to be, you know, the big bad guy, this is supposed to be the guy that just dominates the screen when he comes on. You're supposed to be intimidated by him. You're supposed to believe that a ton of evil, fucked up dudes are gonna follow that guy into battle and lay their life down for him because they are terrified of him. Didn't get that at all in this one. I recognize the actor from The Dark Knight. He's the one who, you know, according to my calculation, you know, the guy that Joker's like, he's a squealer. He just didn't really bring anything here. There was no moments where I really felt like he was this evil sorcerer that was in charge of Outworld, you know, anything like that. He was okay. He did decent. There was moments with Shang Tsung that was cool, but it was not relied upon him. It was just relied upon the cool visualization of what we know that character can do. So another big character in this movie that I just felt like kind of fell flat. But overall, guys, I really had a blast with this. Is it highbrow entertainment? Absolutely not, but I never expected it to be. Expectations are going to make or break this movie for you, and I walked in expecting it to be a kick-ass, bloody, gory, visceral, intense adaptation of a fighting video game, and that is exactly what I got. I had fun with it, it delivered what I wanted, and I do want more. So who you are on that scale of Mortal Kombat fan or not is really going to depend on whether or not this movie is for you. So if you're a fan of this video game series and you've been waiting for the blood-soaked fatalities to come to the screen in a kick-ass way, look no further than the new adaptation of Mortal Kombat. But if you're not a fan of the series, definitely save your money, go see something else. But for fans like me, check this thing out and then go out and buy it. So what did you guys think of Mortal Kombat? Did you have fun with this? Do you feel like this is just another video game movie thrown onto the corpse pile of the 1,000 other video game movies that aren't worth shit? Or are you somewhere in the middle? Love some aspects of it, but feel like they really dropped the ball on some and want to see a sequel where maybe they can right those wrongs? Let me know where you are on that scale. What did you think of this one? Did you watch it at home? Did you go support the theaters? Let me know who your favorite Mortal Kombat character is down below as well. For me, always been Scorpion. Thank you guys for watching. Like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button so you can check out all of my future reviews for the rest of 2021 releases, as well as the rest of my Saw review series. That's starting up next month, so you don't want to miss that. And as always, guys, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.